Hello, everyone. Welcome to 10 Minutes with Barb and Ron. I'm Barb Gentili-Green, Director of Student Services and Accessibility for Bexley City Schools.
And I'm Ron Rogers with OCALI, the Director of the UDL Center. And oh man, we are really excited. Barb and I are so excited, I can't even slow down talking for a second. We have Stephanie Howell with us. The Stephanie Howell, the famous one from Ohio. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Stephanie so she can, kind of tell you what all she's into.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be on here. I'm really excited to connect with Ron and Barb. Ron and I connected, I think, on Twitter. It was kind of a challenge. We did an inbox zero challenge. I hope his inbox is still zero. Is it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. That little chuckle, I don't know.
It was a lightning. I think lightning struck outside. Nothing to worry about.
But after just connecting with Ron, it was just a positive, upbeat man. And I was just excited to kind of get to know him more. And then somehow we also found out that we had like a special education passion as well with OCALI and presenting at that conference. I think you did 4 sessions, didn't you?
I think I did 6.
Oh, 6. So, yeah, only 6, right?
Yeah, only 6.
And so then just having that shared passion was really exciting as well. So I have 2 new friends that I'm really excited to continue to grow and learn from as we make education better.
I love that goal, right? And you're so right, Stephanie. Like, we have to collaborate with others in order to keep making education better. So I love that you're so open to that.
I'm excited for what you do at your school and also the fact that you have your own company. And we want to make sure that sometime on here we get a website for your company, because I know you post some pretty good items that teachers can implement the next day. Is that correct?
Yeah. So in my district, I'm an instructional technology coach. So I work with different teachers and just help them use the different technology in our district, along with like blended learning to make sure it's not too techy or too much online. We kind of had that problem when I feel like COVID hit, right? We moved everything online. And now it's like we've got to find that balance of offline and online material. And so that's kind of what I do every single day is I get to help teachers kind of find that balance, help them do engaging lessons. And then I love creating. So I love designing different templates, love working with other educators outside of my own school district, including people like in Australia or wherever. And so Google Innovator really opened up my eyes to that. And so with Google Innovator, I was able to go to an academy in Sydney, Australia. And that's when I was able to kind of grow my network. I realized that before that, I was very introverted. I was also had this imposter feeling where I felt like my stuff wasn't good enough, or I felt like I couldn't share. I also had like a learning disability when I was a student in school. In 2nd grade, I was diagnosed. And so all of these different barriers kind of hit. And then I was shipped off to Australia. And when I went to Australia, it just kind of opened me up that I do have a voice and I do have something to share. And I have a different perspective than other educators or whatever. And so I have to share that passion of mine to a global audience. And so with that, I did a project and it was very kind of low key. It was based on depth of knowledge and just the different levels and how to move students with disabilities from that DOK level 1 of recall all the way to get them to kind of more of that justification and getting them to kind of explain their thinking is what something I lacked in school, because a lot of my teachers, because they knew I had a learning disability, were trying to keep me at that recall level area where they were like, Stephanie really struggles with working memory, so we're just going to keep practicing basic recall, right? But that wasn't my area. I'm such a problem solver. I am an out-of-box type of thinker. And so I needed those higher levels of DOK as well as the recall level. And so that was kind of my focus for my innovator project. But then I started making all these different connections with people on Twitter and from different areas. And I decided to kind of start my own company, which is Gold EDU. And so you can find that website at goldedu.org. And that's where I do different sessions with Megan and Ashley, who are kind of my partners in crime. They also work in the same district as me, and I just love creating with them. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Wow. So I have so many questions, like so many things you said made me think about questions. So first of all, Australia. So when did you go to Australia, and what happened in Australia that helped you realize, you know what, hey, I have something important to share?
Yeah, in 2019, so before COVID, it was in May, you have to apply for the Google Innovator cohorts. And so I applied and I was like, I'm not going to get in, but I'm just going to apply. And then I find out I forget what time it was because of the time conversion, but it was really early in the morning. And I am get this chat message of all these different educators yelling, of excitement that they got into this Innovator Academy because they are pretty competitive. And I was just like, wait, I really got in. What? And then you start to you're excited and then you're just like, I'm not good enough. What am I going to feel like going into this room? Should I go? Should I travel across the ocean to get to Australia and be with all of these really amazing educators? But it was being at that Google environment. And Google, I don't know how they do it, but they make you feel psychologically safe. And that's kind of what I've been focused on this year is we have to make educators feel psychologically safe, because if we don't, they might not learn. Or using that yes and language with educators is so important. And so with that, and just kind of, it wasn't just it was 3 days in Australia of this conference or this academy. But it was also after that, they set you up with a mentor, and then they also support you along the way. So it wasn't just quick 3 days, you're over imposter syndrome. And I still deal with imposter syndrome on a daily basis. And you have to be able to get over that, or think about, okay, I have accomplished this, or I can share this, or, okay, I'm feeling this way. And you're able to kind of now name it, and you can kind of say, okay, I need to get healthy again.
Wow. So, of course, Ron, I see UDL connections all over the place. But the first one that hits me is that psychologically safe, intentionally designing our environment to minimize threats and distractions that might get in the way. And also then setting high expectations. That to me is what UDL is all about, is we believe in you. We believe you have the capacity and we're going to help you. And so it sounds like that experience really was aligned with UDL, whether they realized it or not.
Yeah. And I totally agree with that now that you kind of say it, because when I think back when I was in school, having that label of a learning disability, you have that wall up, oh, I'm not smart enough. Oh, this. But we have to create that environment, like you said, to where our students don't see that label as a, something that's negative. And it is a strength. I view the world completely different than somebody else, or I had to overcome that obstacle to learn how to do different things in school and use assistive technology in order to say, okay, I need this read aloud. So I'm going to use this computer, or I need spell check or whatever to find those different avenues.
This is incredible, Barb. I like the way you pulled it back to universal design for learning. Yeah. And I think it also goes to show, like Stephanie said, I didn't really recognize it as that, but it really was that. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times, Barb, as we're speaking to people like Stephanie, it's great to be able to, like you did, and throw that out there so that where they're like, oh yeah, that is. Because all the things that Stephanie does throughout, there are a lot of universal design for learning connections, and she doesn't have to name them to make them there. They're there, as long as she's, trying her best to get rid of the barriers, just like Google did. Now, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. This is part 1. Part 2 will be in a couple minutes, okay? So Ron's going to be out, and then we'll come back and we'll do part 2. So
are we at 10 minutes already?
We are. Ron's out.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm out too, and I'm looking forward to the next couple minutes when we can tape the next part.
Bye.
See you next time.
YouTube, please subscribe. Like, comment, and share.